Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream, Thursday, the 6th of June, 7:35 p.m. And as always, we'll have a look at some of the stories that have caught my attention in the press here today in Spain. Stories that have caught not only my attention, but the attention of the general public today, because there's an important story coming up as far as food is concerned, and also some comments we'll take a look at as well, comments that have been left on videos in recent times by viewers. And then in the second half of this evening's live stream, into the chat section, I will go and check out what is happening there. So if you're in the chat section watching the live stream today, say hello, please. Now, straight into the news. And Airbnb and Booking under investigation. The Ministry of Consumer Affairs here in Spain has opened an investigation, but those two companies are evading responsibility for the illegal supply of tourist apartments. The opening of an investigation by the Ministry of Social Rights, Consumption and Agenda 2030 to prosecute the advertising of unlicensed tourist accommodations has stirred up Airbnb and Booking. The two large platforms that control the market in Spain are being singled out, although the ministry has not named any specific company as responsible for the illegal offer, which in their opinion is not their responsibility. In a statement sent to the press this Wednesday, the department, headed by Pablo Bustindui, pointed out that it has sent requests for information to the main platforms of tourist rental to obtain data on the homes that are advertised on these platforms to identify who the owners are, under what rental conditions they are, and whether or not the owners have licenses for tourist use. So there we go. Cracking down is the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, or the Ministry of Social Rights, Consumption and Agenda 2030, the full name of that ministry. And as I said, cracking down on Airbnb and Booking, asking them for information. They want to know who the owners of these places are. They want to know what the rental conditions are. And as we saw there also, whether or not they have licenses to operate here in Spain. So it's going to be interesting, but those two companies evading giving that information, or washing their hands of the problem, saying that it's not our problem if somebody advertises their home on Airbnb and doesn't have the correct license. That's not our problem. That's your problem. I imagine that's what they're saying. So we'll see how this one ends up, but the ministry going hard on those two platforms, which, as we know, have been out of control here in Spain for a number of years now, post-pandemic, of course, the situation exploding and long-term rentals being turned into short-term rentals, especially in those holiday hotspots. But not all places have licenses, apparently, or at least that's what the government wants to find out. Second piece of news here, and Estrella Galicia, the beer operator in the north of the country, an executive from that company has called the owners of the UK-made Madrid beer dishonest. An Estrella Galicia executive has accused British brewers of dishonesty for selling beer that looks Spanish, although it is made in the UK, according to the Daily Telegraph. The head of Estrella Galicia Internacional, Aitor de Artaza, points out that the lack of transparency among British brewers is causing confusion among consumers. The controversy comes in the wake of the success of Madrid Excepcional beer, which promotes itself as the soul of Madrid and whose popularity has grown markedly in the UK. The beer is brewed in Tadcaster, Yorkshire. There is a lack of transparency because they use the name of a famous Spanish city, but they don't produce there. It's confusing for the consumer, Artaza has told the Telegraph. So there we go, beer wars. Spanish brewer Estrella Galicia, which is dominating the market here in Spain currently, becoming more and more popular as the years go by. And how many people tell me that that is their beer of choice down here in Spain, but in the UK having to compete with beers that look Spanish but are brewed in Yorkshire. So interesting what's going on there. And I think there was a story in the Telegraph today also that said these are beers that look European, but they're actually brewed in the UK. And Madrid Excepcional is not the only beer apparently. So British brewers getting cheeky and, as we saw there, dishonest, according to this beer executive here in Spain. Lack of transparency also. some of the words that he used there. And I also read that Madrid has a very lucrative market share at the moment, impressive numbers of that British brewed faux Spanish beer. I think it was developed by a Spanish brewer, but that's about where the relationship ends, I think. But don't quote me on that. And the final piece of news, the good news for olive oil lovers here in Spain, some long-awaited news, and it is that prices are to fall from September thanks to a great olive harvest. If there's one foodstuff that is turning households upside down in Spain, it is olive oil. It is the product that is hitting citizens' pockets the hardest. So so far this year, it has risen by 14%. According to the National Statistics Institute data, and it has risen 68% annually. But after the summer, in view of the next olive oil campaign, prices will go down thanks to a great harvest. And this is not just anyone's opinion, but that of the top boss of the world's largest olive oil producer, D'Olio. The president and CEO of D'Olio, Ignacio Silva, has announced today a normalization of the olive oil market after the flowering of the olive tree between April and May has occurred without episodes of extreme heat, and water reserves are above average after the recent rains. So there we go. And I can just imagine how many people here are breathing a sigh of relief after the last couple of years where prices have been around the €10 mark for 1 litre of the extra virgin variety of olive oil. And if it drops down around the 8, 7, 6, or back down to where it was a couple of years ago, or probably longer now, maybe during the pandemic it was around €4 a litre, maybe even cheaper in some places. If it gets down to those prices, people will be ecstatic. Let's just say that, because it is the number one cooking foodstuff in this country. Spanish people don't cook with many other things except for olive oil. Maybe some people use the cheaper oils in there, maybe the canola oil or sunflower oil, but olive oil, you will not find a kitchen in Spain that does not have it in the pantry. So good news there, if it indeed is true, but we have to take the words of that executive. Last piece of news was that one. Into the comment section now, this one from Relaxing Hike. Squatters are safe when our great leader decides one has too many properties. The next level is comunalca, whatever that is, when our great leader decides our home is too big and can accommodate vulnerable people. We may be on the wrong track. Time will tell. Well, I don't know whether we'll ever get to the stage where somebody will say your home is too big, put people in your spare bedrooms. They're just sitting there empty. Why not take in some vulnerable people? Don't know whether that's going to happen anytime soon, but that's the opinion of this person here, that time will tell. We may be on the wrong track. There is a squatting issue, as we have seen over the last few days, of people having problems getting squatters out of their apartments. People that moved in legally, were paying rent, probably put down a deposit, but after a while gave up paying rent and changed the locks on the doors and don't let the owners in. I don't think we'll ever get to the extreme pointed out in that comment, but again, just my opinion. Another one here from Chris. Pedro Sanchez talking about the right of through an unnatural alliance, anything goes for them. A few days previously, hey, we've forgiven the guys that did things against the Spanish Constitution, so that they will vote along with me in Parliament. Hypocrisy hardly covers it, says Chris. Yeah, that could easily be the conclusion that people come to after hearing Pedro Sanchez's words the other day in a letter that he published to the people, always blaming the far right. He's like a crack record. He goes on about the far right more than anything else, the big threat to Spanish democracy, and even ministers here on a daily basis are saying that Spain is not a democracy. We don't live in a democratic country because we, as the government, we can't get our way. We can't get our way with things. The president's wife or the prime minister's wife is being investigated for alleged corruption and influence peddling, and the judges are on the side of the opposition parties, the right-wing parties. We're not in a democracy. I heard it today. One of the ministers or the European elections candidate now, I think she is, those were her words. So on a daily basis we hear that. But Mr. Sanchez does whatever suits him at any given time or moment, and anything that anybody or any group that disagrees with him gets labelled the far right, the extreme right, and of course gets told that they don't operate democratically, whatever that means. But Chris, thanks for the comment. Another one here from John. Stu, apparently today at Malaga Airport there was a 90-minute wait at passport control. Surely that's far too long for a child or the elderly to stand around and wait. If tourism is on the rise, surely there should be more passport control personnel employed. Can't be difficult to solve. John from the UK. Thanks, John. Yeah, I didn't know there was a problem at Malaga Airport. I knew there was a problem last year, and I think also in 2022. Post-pandemic, when the tourist bug seemed to hit everybody and they started travelling to places like Spain, and the airports couldn't keep up at border control. Don't think it's a problem unique to Spain, but Malaga Airport there, according to John, 90-minute delays, and it is a long time to be waiting if you've got kids or if you are elderly and you have trouble standing on your feet for too long. Then you could have an issue standing in a queue for 90 minutes. What's the problem? Don't know. Probably a shortage of staff. I have no idea. It is the national police that control passport controls here in Spain. They are police officers, unlike in Australia where it's border control, or in the UK, which I think is also border control, not sure. But here it is the national police, and maybe numbers are down or they're not being sent to where they should be. I've got no idea. But it is an issue when you are waiting 90 minutes to get through passport control to go back to wherever you're going to or wherever you're coming from here into Spain. One here from Gold Geologist. Stilton is a strong blue cheese from England. Yummy, but not for many people's taste, according to Gold Geologist. I imagine that is the case if it is a strong blue cheese. Personally, I like blue cheeses, whether it's Roquefort or Roquefort, as they call it here. The one that I mentioned yesterday, the Cabrales cheese, a blue cheese as well. And other blue cheeses that you can find in the supermarket. I do like a blue cheese every now and again, but as Gold Geologist points out, they're not for everyone. A very strong taste. Some people like mild cheeses. Some people like stronger flavored cheeses. I like all types of cheeses, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I don't care if they're strong, if they're mild, if they're from France, if they're from Spain. Portugal has good cheeses as well. Italy, as we know, fantastic cheeses. The United Kingdom, England, fantastic cheese. Ireland, good cheese. So, wherever the cheese comes from, I don't care. I will eat it. We saw that one from Chris. This one here from Stephen. Here in Canada, Quebec, Montreal, cigarettes on average $20 a packet, $12 a packet for the cheaper types, and wine $40 to $20 for decent wines. But if you order a bottle of cheap wine in a restaurant, it will cost you over $70. Just the wine and a plate of crisps or fries. Don't know whether we call them crisps fries, but anyway. And a 10-ounce sirloin steak will cost you $40. Then add the taxes, 15.5%, and then another 18% for tips, and you're broke for the week. LOL. Yeah, fortunately, we don't have those alcohol prices yet here, Stephen. We still have reasonably priced alcohol for the average punter here in Spain, who can buy a bottle of wine for, €2, 3, 4, even cheaper if you want. You can get a cask of wine for what they call a brick, one of those tetra bricks of wine for about €1.20, I think. Good luck drinking that. And when it comes to cigarettes, smokers, I think, pay €6 for a pack maybe. Recent price increase, I believe. But nowhere near the Canadian price for smokes. The Australian price for smokes, which is 40, 50 Australian dollars, a lot of money, and New Zealand as well, which I mentioned yesterday, I imagine has expensive smokes as well. So if you're a smoker and a drinker here in Spain, you're still reasonably well off, but in Canada, Australia, or other countries around the world, it's expensive. And restaurant wines, you can, at local restaurants here, the mid-range restaurants, anywhere from 15 to 40 you would pay for a bottle of wine. Of course, for 40 you're getting a very, very good drop indeed. And for 15, yeah, maybe it'll take the plaque off your teeth, but you'll drink it anyway. Another comment here from Jeffs. Florida governor solved squatter problems this April in one day. Squatting will now be classified as criminal trespassing, shifting the legal framework from civil to criminal law. This change empowers law enforcement agencies to take swift action against squatters, deterring unauthorized occupancy and protecting property rights. Thanks, Jeff, for that. Yeah, some other people also pointed out that the Florida governor, Mr. DeSantis, I think his name is, I thought he was going to run for president this year, but obviously thought twice when he saw how popular his opponent on the Republican side was. And as I said, a few people pointed that out, that Mr. DeSantis has changed the law when it comes to squatters and easily evicted. But here, unfortunately, not the case. And I don't know whether we need a Mr. DeSantis type politician to get that done here in Spain. I don't know whether he would be popular, that model here in Spain, considering what people normally vote for or traditionally vote for. But it could be a way to fix the squatter issue. Don't know. And the final one here from JMW, valued member. Can you buy smoked cheese in Madrid, or cheese with jalapeno or cranberries? I imagine that you can buy smoked cheese. I think that would be reasonably common. When it comes to cheese with berries or jalapenos and all of these other trendy things that have popped into the market over the last 10, 15 years or so, yes, you can buy them in specialty stores, but at the local supermarket you won't see any of this. You won't see any of this because when it comes to cheese, a lot of people, the local people in the barrios here, are very traditional still. They like to see cheese as they imagine cheese to be, not with red berries on top or incorporated into the cheese. If you go to some supermarkets now, I think Lidl and Aldi have a decent range of cheeses that have been infused with sweet wines and things like that, and other products, port, things like that. And you might find the fruited varieties, but not as common as it would be, let's say, from what I know in Australia, where everybody puts on a fancy tray with dips and cheeses, a lot of fancy types of cheeses. But here the traditionalists still rule, and as I said, you'd probably have to go to a specialty cheese shop to find that type of cheese, or at least that's my opinion where I live here on the outskirts of Madrid. Maybe to El Corte Inglés, the gourmet section, you would find that, or another posh supermarket. But the average punter just wants his manchego tal cual, as is. He doesn't want any fruit on top. Maybe he might accompany his cheese with some grapes, maybe, or with some other type of fruit. I don't know. But incorporated into the fruit or on top of the fruit, which I have seen, on top of the cheese, I don't think so. But again, that's just me. Now, into the chat section I'm going to go in just a moment. Before I do that, backdrop change time. This one here sent in by Adrian of his favorite city in Spain. And if anybody knows where this city is, it is in Castilla-La Mancha. And it is east of Madrid, I think, this city. So I'll let people tell it is in the chat section, because a lot of people will know this city, the famous bridge that goes from one side of the city to the other, where the Parador is. So I'll let you guys solve the mystery in the chat section. And if we don't get the mystery solved, I'll let you guys know what it is. But thanks, Adrian, for sending this picture of your favourite city here in Spain through. And if you've got a similar picture that you would like to see on the backdrop, the email address is this one here, spainspeaks@gmail.com, on the screen currently. Send them through. Don't be shy. And any other information that you have that you would like to bring my attention to, the email address, as I said, spainspeaks@gmail.com. There it is. The like icon also going on the screen here now. If you haven't hit it yet, we're currently at 50. We've just cracked the half ton. So 50 likes. If you hit that like button now, we might get up to a decent tally, so consider it, please. People that have supported the channel, always like to say thanks to supporters of the channel. Super thanks, super chat options, buying me a coffee, people that have bought me a coffee in recent times, longer term supporters on Patreon, and also the channel members here on YouTube. Thank you very much for that support. Now, into the chat section, let's have a look what's going on there. I'm seeing people saying Segovia. Is the photo Segovia? No, it's not Segovia. Keep guessing. A couple of people have got it right, but I'll get to that in a moment. Flavored cheeses I'm also seeing in the chat section. So let's go to the top. Let's see what's happening here. John, first one. Number 1 tonight. Have a great weekend. Thanks, John. You have a good one too. Janet coming in from Oxford. Where is summer, says Janet. Don't know where your summer is, Janet, but today here, 35 degrees Celsius, 39 forecast for tomorrow. So summer here has hit, but I have heard that there is a rainy patch coming next week. I think temperatures are going to drop quite a lot from Friday to Saturday, and some parts of the country are going to get intense rain, apparently. But very hot today, I will say. Very hot. Barbara Lavender coming in from Playa Flamenca. 25 degrees there. Going to Roquetas del Mar and the Motril Air Show this weekend. Good one, Barbara. Hope all goes well. Sani coming in from a chilly Basingstoke. The opposite of what we've got here. TOL coming in from the coldest place in North America, San Diego, 16 degrees there currently, which seems to be the average temperature for that part of California. Kurt coming in from Florida, where it's a lot warmer, 93 degrees Fahrenheit there, feels like 100. Valued members, all of those people that I've just mentioned, Al, Janet, and of course Kirk, Barbara as well, and John. I must get that in. Chrissy coming in from a place in Spain where it's 39 degrees in the shade, a little fire emoji there, because somebody set a cornfield on fire. Big loss to the farmer. Absolutely. Why would you do that? Was it arson, Chrissy? Was it somebody just throwing the cigarette out the window, which I still see on a daily basis almost here? Leonore, thanks for sharing. Thanks for watching, Leonore. Richard coming in, valued member 2 from North Yorks. Weather warmish there with sunny spells. Well done. Good weather there, Richard. I think Richard's back in Spain shortly, so should get some sun on the old bones this weekend. Gigi, the Camino expert, up in, where is it? Santiago de Compostela, where all the Caminos end, of course. 44 Gigi has done. Starting number 45 tomorrow. Going to be raining there, so heading south to Oporto, Portugal. Hope everyone is well. Thanks for that. Janet's been watching the DD commemorations today. Very moving. All those veterans, none of them under 97 now, I guess. No, that is true. That is true. Not many veterans left anymore. What else we got going on here? James coming in also with Kathy, very pleasant in Cabo Roig in Spain at the moment. So glad to escape the cold and wet UK. Did a 33-mile round trip to Santiago de la Ribera on the e-bikes. Love the bike lanes. There we go. Easy on the e-bike, 33 miles. As long as you've got range, of course, but comfortable to do such a distance on an e-bike, no doubt. The old seat area might get a bit sore after a while, but fine. Elba, thanks for the updates. Hello, Elba. Amanda's in the chat saying hello to everyone. Renan coming in from LA. Jane and Rob coming in from a hot Valencia. Archito, who's this? Chilito. Hi, Stuart. Thanks for the live chat about biking around Toledo. Looks like a rainy clouds above me. Keep up the informative show with a twist of humour. I'll try to, Chilito. Thanks for that. I hope you don't get too wet if it does rain down there in Toledo. Dominic coming in from California, valued member. Miguel coming in from Derbyshire, United Kingdom. Good to see you, Miguel, today. Andrew coming in from Armarinha in the north of Lugo, stretching from Obicedo in the west to Rebedeo in the east, also known as the Green Coast, the Costa Verde. Thanks, Andrew, for clarifying. I thought it was in Galicia, but not sure exactly where. Al's a Vietnam vet, been to Normandy several times. Very moving. American Airlines flew many World War II vets there for free. Thanks, Al, for that. A Vietnam vet. What else we got going on here? YouTubers coming in from Turkey. €8 per litre there. 4 degrees on the Mediterranean coast in Turkey. Good to see you. Justino or Justino, Cruzcampo is in UK pubs everywhere too now, but brewed by Heineken in Manchester. It does taste different. However, head and shoulders above other lager in UK pubs. There we go. Justino, a fan of the Cruzcampo, unlike myself, which I try to avoid at all costs. Unless I go to Cien Montaditos here, and it's the only beer they have on tap, and it's reasonably priced, so I don't complain. But if I can avoid it, I do. Boyd's coming in. Is there a housing crisis in Spain with the flow of digital nomads coming in? Yeah, I have read some reports that there is a housing crisis in... well, I didn't say digital nomads were causing a housing crisis, but bar and restaurant owners were getting fed up because they were sucking the Wi-Fi all morning and only having a couple of coffees and keeping bigger spending punters out of table space. So that's what people are complaining about. But it will, I'm sure that they're thrown into the mix when it comes to places where there is a housing crisis, the Canary Islands, of course. I know in Portugal they're complaining about digital nomads. So, yeah, there is a complaint, of course. Because people see, people working on their computers all day while they're sweating out in the sun or doing, other types of jobs, and then they realize that they can't afford to get a new apartment, or their landlord wants to make it an Airbnb, and they start to look for people to blame. And easy targets are digital nomads and tourists. Colin, I watch that as well. I watched the D-Day, I think it was, that Janet mentioned, was it? I think it was. Commemorations. 40% of people under 30 have no idea what D-Day was. Is that true? They don't teach that people are not interested anymore? Is that what it is? People not interested in the past, maybe like previous generations were. Obviously, you heard it firsthand from parents and grandparents, right? Which was my case. I had grandparents that fought in Europe during the Second World War. Didn't really hear too many stories about the First World War, except for, the Gallipoli story that I spoke about the other day. But the direct stories coming from grandparents. And maybe that's been lost because the grandparents, if Alan mentioned there the Vietnam War, if you didn't go to the Vietnam War, what war would you have gone to, I suppose? Which was the issue. So there's maybe no stories being handed down, or young people are just not interested if that's the case. Cruzcampo belongs to Heineken, I believe. I know in Australia we celebrate Anzac Day every year, which is quite a big celebration, and people are, taught to respect the people that served in those wars and to keep the remembrance alive, to keep the memories alive, let's say. Pamela coming in also. Thanks, Pamela, for that. What else? Let's have a look. Christopher coming in from Malaga. A nice day there, 28 degrees Celsius. Hopefully not too humid. What else? Let's have a look. Settle in Spain. Oria Almeria, or Oria, not sure if there's an accent on that O. It's been a cloudy 28 degrees there with a few of those raindrops that dry before they land. The land looks like the end of summer, not the beginning. There we go. Quite brown, I imagine that is. Christopher landed in Malaga this morning, went through customs at 8:30, no problem. Agents were nice. I had 3 people in front of me at customs. Depends on the time of the day. Normally the case, isn't it? how many flights come in at the same time. I remember when I went back to Australia in, I think it was December last year, I think 3 flights came in at the same time. And it was a while to get through customs as well in Perth. But yeah, so it can be an issue. Settle in Spain says the local butcher there has different flavoured cheeses around Christmas time in Almeria. Extra mature cheddar the best. Okay. Juan, when did Canadians start tipping? In America, we say the difference between a Canadian and a canoe is the canoe will tip. There we go. A little joke between countries there. Ellie, photo is Segovia. No, not Segovia, Ellie. Not even in the right autonomous community. Segovia is in Castilla y León. This photo here is in Castilla-La Mancha. Ted asking for likes. Thanks for that. Miguel has got it here. Cuenca. Barbara also. Cuenca. That is true. Cuenca. I don't think it's the picture of the Patador because the Patador is on this side, so taken from the Patador, I imagine. But that, I think, is the hanging house or however many hanging houses are there in Cuenca at the moment. James, Cuenca. Yep. Toledo. No. Getting closer, Ellie. But Cuenca it is. Cordoba, no. What else? Bronny coming in. Looking at the temperatures in Malaga on the weather app. Some nights they seem to drop around 16, which is quite chilly for June. Thanks, Bronny, for that. Jeff's got it right also. Cuenca. We saw a comment from Jeff also. Greetings from Mijas, Alex. Taraz coming in from Colorado. Thanks for the updates. You're welcome. Nigel, Northern Spain, the best. Plenty of water. Green, not crowded. Asturias, parts of Galicia, Cantabria, fantastic. Thanks, Nigel, for that. 28 in Benidorm, saying Paul. Says Paul, sorry. Zhao will be there with wife to live beginning of July. Just under 4 weeks to go. Wow. 33 miles, okay with a big behind, comfy saddles. There we go. Don't have Wi-Fi. Don't know what that comment's related to. Random comment. What else we got going on? Julian saying that too bad. That's one here from Nigel. I'm reading the wrong comment. Too bad the American president embarrassed his nation with very poor showing at the D-Day commemoration. He was clearly befuddled and fell asleep. That's incredibly disrespectful. Was he in the Second World War? Was he Biden? I don't know. Was he a pilot? Has he got the age to be in it? I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful, but he always seems to go around with those sunnies on. So I get the impression that he might have been in the military. Am I right or am I wrong? Julian went to Tenerife and found the people there super friendly. Yeah, people are friendly everywhere, Julian. It depends how you treat them. You treat them well, they treat you well. You get drunk and behave like, I don't want to use the word that I used the other day because somebody took offense, but if you behave badly, people will treat you badly, I think. But you behave well, people will treat you well. I think it's a universal characteristic. Now, that's the end of the live stream. More regular content coming out tomorrow, hopefully. If it's not too hot to record outside, I might have to put on a hat tomorrow. But I will try and do something. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating in the chat. Hope to see you again on Sunday with another live stream. Hasta luego. Hasta entonces. Adios. Bye-bye.